So let's see today's delicious recipe of gobi Manchurian or cauliflower Manchurian. Now for the batter, I've taken 1 cup of maida or all-purpose flour or plain flour, half a cup of corn flour, 1 teaspoon of pepper powder, 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, some salt to taste, and about approximately half a cup of water. Now to a bowl, I'm going to add the plain flour as well as the corn flour and mix the two flours really well together. Then we're going to add the seasonings, which is the pepper powder as well as the red chili powder. I'm also going to add salt to taste and mix all of these dry ingredients really well together. Now I'm going to add water a little at a time to make a very thick batter. Something like you would make for a kanda bhaji or a batata bhaji. It has to be a real thick consistency. It doesn't have to be very runny, but a kind of a thick batter, like a idli batter. Something which will coat the florets of the cauliflower really well. So it should not be free flowing, it should be like a little bit of a thick kind of a consistency. Now I've also washed the cauliflower really well and cut them up into these medium-sized florets like this. And set these two aside for later. Now we're going to work on the gravy. So for that I'm going to be using 1 medium onion chopped fine, 2 light green chilies chopped fine, 4 cloves of garlic chopped fine, 1 inch of ginger chopped fine, 1 medium capsicum chopped fine, 4 tablespoons of red chili sauce, 2 tablespoons of soya sauce, 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, 1 tablespoon of water and 1 tablespoon of vinegar and some salt to taste. Now all the ingredients with their right measurements will be in the description box below. Now in a pan I'm going to heat about 1 tablespoon of oil, and we want the oil to be nice and hot. Once the oil is nice and hot, we're going to add the chopped up ginger and we're going to fry this ginger really well. Now you can peel the ginger and chop it up for this particular recipe. Now I'm going to add the chopped up garlic. Fry this garlic also really well till the rawness of the garlic really goes away. Now don't throw away the ginger peel, you can use it to make some lovely tea. Then I'm going to add the green chilies and I'm going to fry the green chilies really well. So this ginger, garlic and the green chilies, they really flavor the oil and they make this dish really, really delicious. Next, I'm going to add my onion, which I've chopped fine, and again fry the onion also till it's nice and translucent. So cook on a little bit of a medium to high flame. Now next, while the onions are getting ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add water to this red chili powder and I'm going to make a kind of a slurry or a kind of a paste, because we don't want to add the raw chili powder to the mixture because it will give a very bitter taste. So I've added a little bit of water to the red chili powder and set it aside. Now we're going to add our chopped up capsicum, green capsicum. This also elevates the flavor of this gravy. So chop everything really fine so that you get a lovely gravy, and fry the capsicum also very well. Now it's time to add the sauces. So first I'm going to add this red chili sauce. Now try to use the red chili sauce which is a little on the spicy side, and not the sweetish red chili sauce. Mix everything well together. And now we're going to add the soya sauce and mix that also in really well. So the soya sauce and the chili sauce add this beautiful flavor to this gravy. Now this is not going to be a watery gravy. This is going to be a very thick gravy in which we're just going to toss, the fried florets. So it's kind of a dry dish. It's something very close to, veg crispies. So now we're going to add this red chili powder paste that we prepared with the water. Like I was saying, it's a more of a side dish that you can have it all by itself as a snack. You can have it as a serving with some fried rice. I'm also going to show you what I generally serve it up with. I generally serve it up with some some coriander and lemon rice, which I will show you in this video. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of powdered sugar. I forgot to mention this in the ingredients. Sorry for that. But this also elevates the flavor and gives a nice sweetish flavor. And then some salt to taste. So now mix everything really well together. So this is an ideal dish for the weekends when you don't want to make any elaborate cooking, but it's really delicious. And now we're going to add the vinegar and mix everything well together. So this is an easy dish to prepare because it just has a gravy and it just has some, fried florets which are going to mix together. So it's really amazing. Now give this gravy a taste and adjust it to your liking. See whether you want a little more of sourness, then you add some vinegar. If you want some more spiciness, then add more of the red chili sauce. So adjust it and now our gravy is ready. Now we're going to work on the florets. So I'm just going to dip these florets into the batter that we prepared. I have some oil heating up for deep frying, and all we have to do is just deep fry these florets till they're lovely and crispy and golden brown in color. Now the corn flour element and the plain flour element, really help in giving this beautiful crispiness to these florets. So don't, try to substitute the plain flour with whole wheat flour or anything. Just stick to the measurements of the uh, plain flour and the corn flour if you want that really crispiness to the florets. So fry them really well, and once they're done, just take them out on some kitchen napkin and fry all the rest in the same way. Now, if you also have some baby corn at home, you can even use that along with the cauliflower. Now I'm going to show you how I prepare this coriander and lemon rice. It's super simple. So I just parboil some basmati rice that is not fully cook it, just till it's about done and edible. And then I just add some lemon juice and some chopped up coriander. No salt or anything to be added. It's just plain coriander and plain, lemon juice. That's all. Just toss it up with this basmati rice and you're all set to go. In fact, I serve this with some stir-fried chicken also. So it's very light and it's, really refreshing to have this rice. So just try out this recipe. So now our florets are ready. They're nice and crispy. So now I'm just going to heat up. It's going to heat up the gravy. This is when, you're just ready to serve the dish. That is when you heat up the gravy. Then you put the heat off. Add these fried florets and very gently just toss them in this gravy or this sauce rather that we have prepared. So you do this only when you're ready to serve it. Don't do it in ahead of time. Otherwise, the florets will get soggy in the gravy and it'll be it'll be a disaster and a fiasco. So when you're just about to serve, that's when you will add the florets into the gravy. And all you have to do is just garnish it with some chopped up coriander, or if you have some spring onions at hand, you can garnish it with the spring onions. So remember that tip that you add the florets to the gravy only when you're about to serve it. And this goes really well, even by itself you can have it, or you can serve it with that coriander and lemon rice or some fried rice. I'll leave a link to my fried rice recipes in the description box below. So I hope you like this recipe. Do give it a try and do let me know in the comments section as to how you like it. Now I have taken 1/4 cup of cashew nuts. I had soaked them in half cup of warm water for 10 minutes. I'm going to drain the water and add only the cashew nuts to a mixer jar. This is 1 cup of fried onions. So I've taken 3 medium onions, sliced them finely and added them to the cashew nuts. And now we're going to add about 1/4 cup of water, and we're going to grind this to a very fine and smooth paste like this. Now in a pan, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of ghee or clarified butter. To that, I'm going to add my vegetables. Now I'm going with half a cup of French beans. Fry the French beans in the ghee really well for at least half a minute. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of cauliflower that I've diced into very small florets. And I've also added the cauliflower leaves that I've chopped finely. Fry the cauliflower also for at least half a minute. Now I'm going to add half a cup of green peas. You can add carrots as well. And I'm going to add half a cup of diced capsicum or bell pepper. Fry all of this really nicely for at least a whole minute. And then we're going to set this aside. Now in another pan, I'm going to heat 2 tablespoons of oil. Once the oil is hot, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of jeera, 1 bay leaf, half an inch of cinnamon and 2 cardamoms or elaichis. Next, I'm going to add 1 green chili that I've chopped fine. Fry the green chili really well. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. So I've taken 4 cloves of garlic and half an inch of ginger. Fry that also really well till the rawness of the garlic goes away. Next, I'm going to add half a cup of tomato puree. So I've taken 1 medium-sized tomato and just pureed it in my mixer jar, and I'm going to add that. Now fry all of this really well on a low to medium heat. Next, I'm going to be adding half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi and 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. This is regular red chili powder. Again, mix everything really nicely. Fry everything a little bit nicely. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of coriander powder or dhania powder and 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder. Mix everything in well. Now frying the masalas, the paste is really very important because that really brings out the flavor of any recipe. So take your time with this recipe and fry everything really nicely. Now I'm going to add this paste that we had made out of the fried onions and the soaked cashew nuts. Now the reason we soak the cashew nuts is that it becomes easier for us to grind. If you add raw cashew nuts, then the cashew nuts will not get ground well. So if you soak them in some warm water for 15 minutes, you get a nice even paste. So now fry this paste really well for at least a whole minute. Now I'm going to add half a cup of water. So what I did is I just rinsed the mixer jar with some water. The mixer jar in which I had ground the fried onions and the cashew nuts, I just added water to that, and I'm going to add that water. Mix everything in well. Now we're going to add in all our veggies that we had fried in the ghee. Like I said, you can add any veggies of your choice. Mix everything in really nicely so all the veggies get coated with this paste. Now I'm just added 1 potato that I just fried in the same oil that I was frying the onions in. This is completely optional. Add some salt to taste. Add a pinch of sugar. Again, mix everything in well. Now I'm just going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. Mix everything well, and then we're just going to cover and simmer this, that is, cook it on a very low flame for about 3 to 4 minutes, stirring in between. Because we want all our veggies to get cooked but not overcooked. Now after 5 minutes, you will see that everything has come together so well, and the aroma in my kitchen also is really fabulous. So we just have a few more ingredients to add in our dishes already. So now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of crushed kasuri methi or dried fenugreek leaves. Crush them with your fingertips and just add them. Next, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garam masala. This is homemade garam masala. I'll leave a link of how I prepare it at home. And now I'm just going to add 1/4 cup of fresh cream. Now this is just the cream that is, that is on the top of our milk that we make every day. Or you can use a ready-made fresh cream. But I'm just using the fresh cream or the malai that is there on top of the milk. So just add that. And now again we're going to cover and simmer it for a whole minute. And our dish is all ready, guys. Now all we have to do is just garnish it with some chopped coriander. Now since it is veg handi, I just served it in a handi. This is not compulsory, but if you have one, then it really makes everything look restaurant style and your family can enjoy this. So doesn't that look lovely? And I'll show you how I serve it also. So what I like to do is I like to serve this with some lemon squeezed on top and a few pieces of onion and with some nice homemade butter roti. Hi everyone and welcome to Akshata's Recipes. Thank you so much for stopping by. Well, today's recipe is a very healthy take on the dahi vada recipe. Normally when we make dahi vada, we always deep fry the vadas, but I want to stay away from deep frying and using a lot of oil. And also with the summer heat, it becomes very heavy to eat deep fried meals or deep fried dahi vadas. They become very heavy and you feel really full and lethargic and heavy. So this dahi vada, there's no deep frying at all, and I've added my own twist with all the ingredients I've used in it, and the end result is just simple deliciousness. So I hope you like this recipe. I hope you give it a try, and if you do, then don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Do hit the red subscribe button, and once you have subscribed, click the bell so you won't miss out any of the recipes or vlogs on my channel. So let's get started with this amazing dahi vada recipe. So friends, we're going to start by setting the dahi or the curd. So I've taken 1 liter of milk, boiled it and cooled it down completely to room temperature, and then I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of dahi or yogurt or curd, stir it for a minute, and then we're going to let this dahi sit at room temperature for at least 5 to 6 hours or longer. You can even do this overnight, or you can keep it even for 7 to 8 hours till the dahi is nice and set. And you'll see that after 7 or 8 hours of waiting, the dahi is nice and firm and all ready to go. So now we can chill this in the refrigerator for about an hour. Now let's concentrate on the preparation of the dal. So for the dal, what I have done is I have taken about 1 cup of urad dal, washed it very well under some clear water. Then I have soaked it in water, and I'm also going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of methi seeds or fenugreek seeds. And again, we're going to soak this for about 5 to 6 hours or longer. You can even do this overnight. Now, after soaking the dal for 5 to 6 hours minimum, we're going to add a mixture of some grated ginger. I've taken 1 inch of ginger and about 6 light green chilies, and I'm going to grind this to a coarse paste. I like to use the light green chilies because they're not very spicy. And so after grinding it, we're going to get this coarse paste. Now we're also going to grind our soaked dal with just a little water. We don't want a very thick, a very runny paste. We want a semi-thick paste. We're also going to add salt, So the paste should look like this. Now we're going to add our ground paste to the mixture. This gives a lovely flavor to the vadas. And to even make it more interesting, I'm going to be adding about half a teaspoon of pepper powder. We're going to mix all of this together. Now I'm heating up an appe stand and I'm going to be using some cold pressed coconut oil. Now you can either brush the appe stand or just drizzle the coconut oil. Very little. I've used just about half a teaspoon. So here we can avoid the deep frying of the dahi vadas. And now we're just going to add our ground dal paste with the lovely spices in it. And we're going to cook it till it's nice and golden brown on both sides. Once this is done, you can keep all of these aside. And we're going to put these vadas, once they're golden brown, in some buttermilk. We're going to soak them in the buttermilk so they become nice and soft and really melt in the mouth taste. Now we are going to prepare. Now we are going to add 4 or 5 tablespoons of sugar to the dahi. You can even put a little bit less if you would like. And we're going to whisk this sugar into our lovely chilled dahi. And now we're going to give this a lovely tadka, which elevates the flavor of the dahi. The dahi has to be nice and chilled. Now I'm using 2 dried red chilies which I've cut up into 4s, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin or jeera seeds, and 1/4 teaspoon of hing or asafoetida. I'm also going to be using some curry leaves. That is optional, but the curry leaves also add a great flavor to this tadka. Now keep your dahi, which you have beaten with some sugar, at the side of the tadka vessel. I'm going to be using some desi ghee or clarified butter, about a tablespoon, and I'm going to be adding the red chilies, the jeera, and I'm going to be adding the hing or the asafoetida, and I'm going to be adding all of this lovely tadka to the lovely sweetened chilled yogurt or dahi. And I'm going to be mixing it very well. And then we have to again refrigerate this dahi for about an hour in the refrigerator so we get some lovely chilled dahi. And now we're going to come to the fun part, which is assembling our dahi vada. That is really the fun part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 2 or 3 vadas which have been nicely soaked in some buttermilk so they're nice and soft and melt in the mouth. Then I'm going to be drizzling, or rather just scooping up some of the lovely dahi, as much or as little as you like, onto the vadas. And then we're just going to sprinkle some red chili powder, a little bit of salt to taste. Here I'm using pink Himalayan salt. It has a lovely flavor. And then all we have to do is garnish it with some freshly chopped coriander or cilantro, and your dahi vada is all ready to enjoy. So have these dahi vadas. They're so healthy. They don't really, make you feel full and lethargic. And as to why did I have so much of this fried stuff, it's just light on the palate and it's amazing. We have taken 1 cup of fresh coconut, some tamarind pulp, goda masala, haldi powder, red chili powder, salt, and some gur or jaggery. Now for the tamarind pulp, I have taken about a small lime-sized ball of tamarind and soaked it in half a cup of water for 15 minutes and then squeezed out all the pulp. Now we're going to cut the small brinjals on one side vertically and on the other side diagonally so that the brinjal doesn't break. Now when you're putting the stuffing, be extremely careful and gentle as to not to break the brinjal. So I'm using about 6 to 7 small brinjals. Now we are going to make this in a pressure pan, but you can also make it in a normal cooking vessel. It will just take about a little longer, about 10 minutes longer, till the brinjals are completely cooked. Of course, it always works out better in a pressure pan. Now we're not going to use all of the stuffing. You're going to keep about, say, 1 cup or half a cup of the stuffing, because that adds to the gravy and thickens the gravy up too. Now this goda masala is homemade. I will leave a link in my description box of how to make goda masala at home. It is extremely simple. So here, while I'm just finishing stuffing the brinjals, we're heating some oil in a pan. Now I'm using a little more oil than normal, so I'm using 2 tablespoons of oil instead of 1 tablespoon, because we have to fry the brinjals a little so they become nice and crispy too. That also enhances the flavor of the dish. Now once our oil is hot, we're going to use our normal foodie ingredients. So we're going to go in with half a teaspoon of mustard seeds or mohri or rye, followed by 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera. Then we're going to add half a teaspoon of asafoetida or hing and half a teaspoon of haldi powder. Now once our mustard seeds begin to splutter, now I is adding a little more hing, so you can go for about 3/4 teaspoon of hing for this recipe. Now we're just going to put in the brinjals. Now if you don't like brinjals, you can also use baby potatoes. I'll put a recipe up. It has the same procedure and the same ingredients, but you can use baby potatoes if you're not a big brinjal fan. So now we're going to saute our vanga or brinjals a bit in the lovely flavored oil. See that you are generous with the stuffing inside the brinjal. Now we're just covering it. We're not completely closing up our pressure pan. We're just covering it, and we'll be repeating this procedure of covering for about half a minute, again opening it, again stirring a bit, again closing it for 2 times, just to cook the brinjals a bit, and that also enhances the flavor of the dish. Now one little kitchen tip I'd like to give you here is, to make your work easier, what I like to do is, as and when I'm cooking, I like to also clean up and clear up, in between cooking time. Like if and my brinjal is taking some time to cook, I like to just put away all the spices that I've taken out, or all the coconut from the refrigerator, or the salt in its place. That really helps, and it makes work easier. I mean, instead of just, I've seen some people when they're cutting onions, they have peels all over, they have, all spices lying over. Their entire kitchen platform is full of, stuff. So as and when you have the time, when your, vegetable is cooking, just clear up. It keeps your kitchen looking nice, it makes you feel good, and it also lessens your work of clearing up so much of trash at one time. Like for example, if I'm chopping up onions, the peels, I always like to keep a paper bag and just put all of them together, so I can just, I don't have to go to the waste paper bin 10 times. I can just go once and for all and just throw up all the trash there. So now you can see that the brinjals have become a darker color. Now we're going to add in all the rest of the stuffing with a little bit of water, because we don't want to waste any of the amazing stuffing. So just add a little bit of water and clear up all the stuffing. As the old saying goes, waste not, want not. That's what we learn from our elders. Make use of everything, don't waste anything. Now one more tip over here is use fresh coconut, guys. Don't use frozen coconut, or it gives a different flavor when you use freshly grated coconut. Now look at the rich color of this dish. Doesn't it already look so appetizing? Now to cook this brinjal, we're going to add about 1 cup of water. Now it all depends upon how thick or how thin you would like to have your gravy. So you can add water if you want a thinner amount of gravy. So I'm adding about 1 tablespoon of dhania powder or coriander powder and 1 teaspoon of cumin powder or jeera powder. Now we've already added salt in the stuffing. So if you feel like you want to add some salt, just give it a little bit of a taste. This barley vangi, like I said, goes extremely well with some bhakri or some steamed rice or even puri. You can always check and taste whether you need to add more chili powder, more ghee for sweetening, more tamarind water. It has a very sweet, spicy and sour flavor. And it gets ready also very quickly. Now to prepare the brinjal, initially what I like to do is I cut off the peel, wash it, cut off the tips rather, not the peel, wash it a bit, cut it up and then keep it in some salt water for about 5-10 minutes and then give it a thorough wash before using it for this recipe. So now we're just waiting for the gravy to come to a little bit of a boil. And then we're just going to seal the pressure pan, close it up and then cook it for 2 whistles on high and then keep it for 5 to 10 minutes on a slow flame. And then once your cooker is, and then put this flame off, and then once your cooker has completely cooled down or your brinjals are completely cooked, then you can open up your pressure pan or your cooker and all you have is just amazing barley vangi. So there it is, friends, all ready. Just garnish with some amazing coriander and you're all set for a lovely lunch or dinner. I hope